wanted to share something of really how I've come to deal with anxiety, pain, grief, hurt, worry that can bottle up, it can overflow, it can take over. It just is part of so many people's lives. It's part of my life. We are all susceptible to this happening to us, and for our emotions to be very much tied up in this, and how I have come to deal with that in an awakened Christian spiritual way. So I do have to give most credit to the concepts which inspirational speaker Eckhart Tolle uses in order to frame this. So when we have that emotion within us, and it's very real, it's very big, it's domineering, I haven't mastered it, I'm still susceptible to kind of acting and reacting to that pain within. So before I know it, I'm trying to drown it out in one way or another, often by overeating, seldom these days through alcohol because I just can't handle it and it gives me a headache. But you get the picture. Inspirational speaker Gabor Mate talks about the fact that when it gets too painful being ourselves, through whatever reason, whatever has gone on in our lives, then we try and disconnect from the self, and we use mechanisms such as drinking, smoking, drug taking, spending, shopping sprees, you name it, the human, we will find our way of doing that and our way of kind of coping in order to get through that. So how it is useful to look at this is to recognize that it is going on. So stop and recognize it's going on for the first instance. The next thing is to look at that story, look at the story that we tell ourselves about that. So stop reacting to whatever is going on and think about, wow, I don't feel in a good place right now. Something is going on. However, the next stage is we look at the story. We look at the story behind why we're feeling like we are, and we identify with that story as though it was us. That is the ego. It's the egoic sense of the self. This is who I am. I'm suffering because and at the moment, quite justifiably, it's coming up for a year this Saturday since my son died. I've got plenty of reasons and plenty of other work and life stresses and issues that are going on, people that I care about that are suffering at the moment. But I have to separate that and realise that that is the narrative of my life. Yeah, it is my life. I'm going through it. I'm here in the midst of it. But it isn't me. So we need to differentiate that pain and that suffering. And in that, I want to say that actually anger, if somebody's made you really angry, you're angry at a situation, you're livid, you're cross, that is the same thing. We are identifying with a narrative. We are identifying with that emotional content that is in our lives that differentiates me. But don't identify with it in the sense of, yeah, it's there, it's definitely happening, but it isn't me. And if I felt differently about the situation, it would take that power away. And when we hold those strong emotions, we identify with them. We become lost in them in a way, and we prevent our intunement with the Spirit of God by becoming involved in that story and that narrative. As we recognize where that is, where that issue is, where that emotion lies, we kind of step back from it, and there is air around it, it's separate from us. We can look on it as an identity. So yeah, I'm very much a person, I'm very much me, I'm very much a person, a mother in grief. However, I am not consumed with all of that emotion that's there. I am a being that's separated from a new creature, if you like, in Christ. I am awakened and aware in the spiritual realm of what is going on. And although that doesn't stop the intensity of the feelings, it does help me step back a bit. And when I put space between me and what I'm feeling and going through, I allow what Tolle calls the transcendent awareness of consciousness, i.e., spiritual awakening or identifying with the conscious presence of the Lord, to be. I can be held in the conscious presence of the Lord, despite what I am going through in the intensity of the feelings, when I no longer become the narrative of who I am. I don't lose myself. My son Josh, those who knew him would know that he was a larger-than-life character. Oh my goodness, a joker, spoke his mind, really dynamic and out there. But he had learned, and we'd been doing presence and awareness for a few years really before he was taken from us. And if somebody as full on as Josh can find the peace and presence of the Lord by disassociating with the narrative of who I am, and yet still be yourself, he personified that, he did that, and that's what I am trying to be, and I hope you find that's helpful. Bit of a longer one today, but I hope you find it helpful.